Report Network has a new and exclusive line of clothing. First up, the Do-Jitsu Rash Guard. This isn't just gear, it's a statement. A commitment to eco-friendly battles on the mats and waves. And for those who live by the bold champion spirit, we have something special. A line for men and women designed not just for the fight, but for life. Wear our bold champion spirit of Jiu-Jitsu Rash Guard confidently. Its striking design with golden figures in combat honors the enduring spirit of competition in martial arts. Pair it with our unisex mesh shorts, the perfect combo of style, comfort, and eco-conscious design for the modern warrior. And don't forget, our Jiu-Jitsu Bold Champion Spirit leggings. This attire is expertly engineered to channel the champion spirit in every move you make. Together, it's not just about looking good. It's about feeling the part and living the Jiu-Jitsu way, both on and off the mats. Meticulously crafted for the yoga studio, the gym, and beyond, blending style, comfort, and the heart of a champion. Wear your passion, embody sustainability, and elevate your practice. Join the league of athletes who wear their values as proudly as their belts. It's more than clothing, it's a way of life. Ringside Report Network, where champions dress for success, sustainability, and the spirit of the sport.
Attention to all professional wrestling fans and followers of the legendary Johnny Genesis North. We are releasing a must-have collection of Johnny North merchandise in our store at merch.ringsidereport.net, starting with our limited edition Johnny Genesis North 3/4 sleeve t-shirt. With a unique design capturing Johnny in action, this tee exudes raw energy and intensity through its versatile 3/4 sleeves for any weather. Stand with our legendary co-host, Johnny North. Make a bold statement in the wrestling community by getting yours today, exclusively at merch.ringsidereport.net.
Get ready to amp up your betting game with Ringside Report Network's latest knockout offer. We've teamed up with our pals at Bet99.com to bring you something that will shake up the betting world. Dave's Picks with boosted odds. Here's the lowdown. Normally you see odds like -200 over at Bet99, right? Picture this. We hit up our buddies at Bet99 and worked out some magic. Suddenly those odds? They're looking a whole lot sweeter at -150. That's right, and we're all about getting you those exclusive, juiced-up odds, only for the Ringside Report universe. So here's the game plan. We dish out the picks, and you keep those eyes peeled. You might see a number on Bet99, but hold up. Wait until Saturday morning rolls around. Thanks to those boosted odds we've snagged for you, those numbers will look much better. I'm all for Bet99 doing great, but let's not kid ourselves. We want to win big too. It's all in good fun, and hey, it's part of the thrill of the game. They're in on it, and we're in on it. It's all about having a blast while pocketing some extra cash. Ready to take advantage of those boosted odds? Go to the special Ringside Report Bet99 link on your screen. We're all about seeing how much we can boost the odds for you, our loyal viewers. And a huge thank you to Bet99 for their support of the Ringside Report Network.
Yes, indeed. It is Wrestling Uncensored. Tony Khan calls WWE the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. The WWE Draft begins on SmackDown, and Backlash France is next week. C'est le Backlash à Lyon la semaine prochaine. Pendant l'après-midi, Johnny North. It's going to be good. Afternoon Backlash next week, brother.
1 p.m., right? It starts?
I think so. I don't know. We'll know next week. We'll tell you the exact time next week. You're probably right. But it's in France, so that means nighttime there, afternoon here. They don't do like the UFC. You know, UFC's going to Manchester for UFC 304 in July, and it's going to be like a 10 p.m. Eastern pay-per-view start time for us here, like normal. So that's like 3 a.m. their time. Like they're going to have people in the arena at 3 a.m. It's ridiculous. I don't know. They used to do UFC pay-per-views in England, and they would have them in the evening, and then it would be on in the afternoon here, and it'd be fine. I don't know why they don't do that, but I think they're going to do it like 3 a.m. in England, which is nuts. To start the pay-per-view at that time?
Well, dedicated fans, man. Because they don't get that too much, I imagine. So
I guess.
Just to get it, I can stay up till 3 in the morning. Why not? Yeah, I'm glad that we don't have to worry about that so much. We'd never have anything like that.
We are very lucky to live in this time zone and in this part of the world that is safe and friendly and nice, right?
That's not saying England is not friendly and nice. We know some great people out there.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying England isn't friendly and nice. I'm just saying there are places in the world that aren't so friendly and nice, right? This is a nicer place to live in comparison to other places, right? So it's good.
Oh, possibly.
Yeah.
Can't say I've been to everywhere in the world, though. I mean, maybe England is better than here.
Yeah, I'm not saying England. I'm not really saying England. I'm saying, some war-torn... like, I'd rather be here than in Ukraine right now. Ukraine seems kind of rough.
Right.
I imagine
Saudi Arabia, not so much for you.
Saudi Arabia, I don't know. It might be lovely. For some people, I'm sure it's pretty luxurious. Like, some Saudis are living way better than me. You know what I mean? They're living it up in Saudi. Some of those Saudi royalty guys, the guys that get the front row to the WWE Crown Jewel. All right, what are we talking about here, John? We got Wrestling Uncensored. We got a lot of pro wrestling to tackle. None of my nonsense here. We got Angelo Contagonis. He's going to say, stick to wrestling, guys. Angelo says it starts at 1 p.m. Angelo in the chat. Kyle Salisbury in the chat says TK needs to take care of his own house and not worry about the neighbor. I kind of like the shots that TK is throwing. You know, there's a lot of chatter in the chat. Chatter, John, about Tony Khan and his comments. I know we got a lot of WWE stuff to get to, but it's been kind of a slow week in WWE, despite the draft, which was pretty awful tonight. A very uneventful draft. They come out, they do draft picks, and it's like, this person is staying on SmackDown. Okay? This person is staying on Raw. They had one round of the draft where they did 4 picks, 2 SmackDown, 2 Raw. I think it was Teddy Long and JBL, and nobody moved. Maybe it was the Dudleys. I don't know. We'll recap it. But nobody moved. It was just like announcing who was on the shows and who is still on those shows. Not a memorable edition of the draft, right? Wasn't John Cena getting drafted to Raw? Remember that? That was good. Jericho giving the great reaction.
Remember the one when Triple H got traded to, or drafted to SmackDown, they got traded back to Raw the next night.
Right. Not much of that tonight. Derek John, member of the team over at joined.ringsidereport.net, says draft was lame. Angelo says disappointed by the draft tonight. No real surprises. Yup.
Not much happened really when you think about it.
Nothing happened. Somebody got called up. Kiana James, I believe is her name.
Yeah, not a great package that they had for her. Just like, oh, she's in the business, and now it's helped her get to where she is, and that's it.
Yeah, she's like a business lady. She's kind of like a Sasha Banks character.
Huh. Okay. Well, that's nice. Replace.
No?
Nowhere close to like that kind of character, but sure. I mean, they're trying something different.
But like Sasha Banks is the CEO. This one is like I don't know. She's business something. You know what I mean?
Sure, it's different, but yeah, I get where you're trying to tie it in a little bit.
It's similar. I don't think that they're similar wrestlers. I really don't know much about Kiana James. I'm just saying when I saw the gimmick, I was like, oh, it's kind of like a business. She's the boss, you know? I get it. It's all right. She seemed quite happy to get drafted to Raw from NXT, and that was really the biggest news out of the draft. Kiana James has gone to Raw. Was there a bigger story out of the draft tonight? Somebody that you never heard of until tonight is going to Raw.
Yeah. Well, Braun Breaker to Raw. I mean, that's, I guess, good for him. He'll be shown more, at least, because he hasn't really done much on SmackDown. It was kind of weird that they made a big deal out of signing him a couple weeks ago, and now, bam, he goes right to Raw right away. So this was kind of ridiculous that they had these big signings that pretty much just get wasted now.
And they really don't have anything creative for Braun Breaker. He's doing these little squash matches. He squashed Cedric Alexander tonight. It's just, there's nothing happening. He exists, but he doesn't do much. There's no creative direction for Braun Breaker. He's not inserted into anything of merit. He's just there, and it's like, let's build him. Look how impressive he is when he squashes Cedric. Seems like kind of a waste of time for me. I don't need to see that. What else can he do? Hopefully on Raw, they'll be able to actually dig in and do something with him. Put him in a story with somebody. Do something. Don't just do these random squash matches against a random opponent for no reason other than to showcase you. How many enhancement matches do we need for this guy? I don't think he needs much more enhancement. I believe it. I've seen him for several years in WWE. This isn't the first time around for this guy. He's been in NXT for a while. When he broke out in NXT, everybody in the business was like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. Now the heat has kind of died down. They've dragged him along for years. They kind of brought him in Royal Rumbles and this thing and here and there, and you knew they were going to bring him up at some point. They finally kind of bring him up to SmackDown. They do nothing but enhancement matches to be like, look at this guy. It's like, we know. We know. Hey, he's Rick Steiner's son. Yeah, we know. What else do you do? They got to do something with him on Raw. To me, him going to Raw means nothing. It's like Andrade going to SmackDown. It's like, okay, I thought he was on SmackDown. No, he's been on Raw a bit. It's like, I don't think he had a brand, so maybe now he's officially on SmackDown. It's a pointless draft.
Well, that's another great point, though, is the fact that a lot of people have been jumping to Raw and SmackDown. It doesn't matter. Escobar wrestled on Raw this week. So now you got to hope at least, and they never do it, but they actually make the draft like legit, where they actually are on Raw and are on SmackDown, and they stay that way.
What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, they always mess it up. Like it never stays that way.
Nope. It'll probably be a couple weeks before one of these people is on another show, and you're like, why? And there's no explanation. That's just how it works. Carmelo Hayes drafted to SmackDown. I thought he was already on SmackDown. Was he still technically in NXT?
Yeah, because I guess he was never officially signed. He wrestled, but he wasn't officially signed in their universe, I guess. So.
Mm-hmm. And then he wrestled Cody Rhodes. He challenged Cody to a match. He wrestled Cody in the main event of SmackDown tonight, and Cody beat him with a crossroads. Was what it was.
Did they miss him? Did they mess up the ending there? Because locally they messed up the ending.
Why?
Like, were they
Go
like
ahead.
the what was it? He's supposed to hit the Cody cutter, right? And then it looked like he jumped to hit him with something, but he missed, and he immediately got up right away to pick Cody up. I think he was supposed to hit Cody in the air, but he didn't. He missed it. I think he was supposed to hit Cody, and then they went right to the finish after that too. So I think there was a miss there.
It wasn't spectacular, you know. It was what it was. I wanted it to end so we could just get to whatever, you know. It didn't matter, and it didn't do Carmelo Hayes any favors. He didn't look particularly strong or competitive in the match. It was a pretty short match, and it was his first night on NXT. It really doesn't make me believe in this guy at all. If anybody needed an enhancement match, you know, this guy.
But he got drafted very highly by SmackDown. Like, he wasn't like the second pick.
Yeah.
Over like before Randy Orton, before AJ Styles, for the Bloodline, they picked Carmelo Hayes. So you would think they're building this guy.
Yeah, they probably are. I mean, they gave him the match with Cody on his first night, but I think it'll take a while to build him to where they need him to be. I'm not fully sold on him. I'm not against him, but I haven't seen anything with Carmelo Hayes so far that has blown me away where I go, wow, this guy's the future of the business. I don't see it. Do you?
I haven't seen it yet, but I mean, it seems like they keep talking about this guy has a lot of potential. Just we haven't seen that yet. You can't just throw some guys in matches and just expect he's going to catch on. It doesn't always happen with some people. I think his partner, like Trick Williams, caught on right away because I think he just has more charisma than Hayes. I think Hayes is a good wrestler, but it kind of goes to show in WWE, just because you're a good wrestler doesn't mean you're going to get over in the WWE universe.
Yeah. Derek John says they will freeze after Backlash, they're saying. So the rosters will be frozen after Backlash until they decide to thaw them out.
Right. Or wild card will happen, right?
Yeah. The wild card. That was a thing for a while. Nia Jax going over to SmackDown, making her presence known right away. That was kind of a big move. Nia Jax has been on Raw doing things, and now she's on SmackDown, so that's something. I thought they were going to boost up Raw's women's division, and they really didn't. They took away Nia Jax. They lost Rhea Ripley. Becky's the champion with no real opponents other than Liv Morgan, who remains on Raw in the draft.
And that's probably going to be the match, I would imagine, after what happened on Raw. We're probably going to get Becky and Liv at Backlash, I think.
And then where do you go from there? You know? Let me just recap the draft picks and everything that happened draft-wise on SmackDown while we're talking about it. Bianca Belair remains on SmackDown. She was the first pick overall for SmackDown. Jey Uso, the first pick overall for Raw. Which, I mean, realistically, John, if you were to draft all the WWE wrestlers that were available, but I guess there was a certain pool, right? There were certain people that were available to draft tonight and other people that are available to draft on Monday. Like Bianca was like, oh, I hope Jade gets drafted to SmackDown on Monday night. And I'm like, well, why don't they just draft her now? But there are draft pools, so Jade is only eligible to be picked on Monday.
That's the way it works. But regardless, like Jey Uso before Randy Orton, before LA Knight, or like, I'm sorry, like Jey Uso's good, but before all these guys, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
I don't. Yeah, Jey Uso was the second pick overall, first pick overall for Raw. Raw picked Jey Uso before Seth Rollins. Yeah. Because Carmelo Hayes was then drafted to SmackDown. Carmelo Hayes drafted above Randy Orton, AJ Styles, and LA Knight tonight on the draft.
And Seth.
And Seth Rollins.
Seth. Wow.
Yes, Seth was still on the board, technically, right? SmackDown could have drafted Seth Rollins instead of Carmelo Hayes, but they chose Carmelo Hayes. It shows you the genius of Brutus Magnus, the SmackDown GM. That guy really botching things up. What a mess.
Oh, can we talk about the war rooms they had too? Like SmackDown and Raw had their own war rooms with different people. Like JBL was there. The Dudleys were there.
Yeah, the Dudleys were there. Raw had, I think, Bubba, and SmackDown had Devon.
Right.
Which just goes to show, when I see those clips on like YouTube, you know, of Bubba being like, AEW's doing this wrong, and what the hell are they doing? I'm like, oh, okay, now I know why he's saying all that stuff. It's like, okay, he's on SmackDown. I get it. He's getting a check. I'm not getting a check from WWE, so when I do my show about wrestling, I can, you know, tell you real things that I actually feel and not what I'm being paid to say. Or paid not to say about
That's
WWE.
across the board.
Like, you think Bubba's going to go on, bust it open, and be like, that draft really sucked? I don't think so. I mean, it'd be pretty rude if he did. He was on it.
I think you're very fortunate that Montreal didn't get the draft this year.
Yeah. I've been at a draft show. They were terrible. And tonight's SmackDown was weak. And Triple H and Cody, can we talk about them for a second and the love fest that is going on between these two jabronis?
Their faces. What's wrong?
Their faces. They're big baby faces. Did you notice Cody's wrist tonight?
What was up with his wrist?
Okay. He's got like 50 bead bracelets on his wrist now.
Okay.
Okay, and it's all of a sudden, I'm like, what are all these beads? They look like children's bracelets on him. And there's a lot of them. And he's wearing a suit and he's got all these bracelets. I'm like, it's weird. It's a little out of place. I've never seen that on Cody before. And I'm like, where have I seen that before? I feel like I've seen that before. And then the game comes out and I go, oh, that's where I've seen it before. Triple H has all these freaking beads all on his he's got the I don't know, they got that Connor's Cure thing, but there's like 6 or 7 of them on his wrist. Triple H always has. It's a recent thing in the past couple of years, and I noticed because it's just an odd set of jewelry because it's not like gold or it's like, plastic beads, colorful beads. I'm like, what is Triple H wearing? And it's a lot of them, and I've noticed it. And now all of a sudden Cody comes out and he's got the beads on. What a suck up little, Oh, I got the beads like Hunter,
Well, I mean, if they're supporting good causes, I really don't have a problem with that. That's fine.
But like,
again,
come
baby
on, man.
faces.
Yeah, I know it's a babyface move and whatever. Triple H is babyface, but like Cody coming out with the beads like Triple H, it's like, yo, what is this? It's too suck up to me. Support the cause, donate to the cause, do whatever. But you're coming out in a suit like you're looking like Triple H. When he was standing there next to Triple H, he just looked like Triple H's little son. Hey, this is my new son. He's my favorite. I love him. Come here, Cody. Let's do the draft together. This is going to backfire on Cody, man. I'm telling you. All of this. Jey Uso, they picked Jey Uso, Triple H. They're playing the Uso music. Triple H is like, Oh, my God. Jey Uso's got to be like, don't do it. Don't do that. You're going to kill my gimmick. It's like when Fandango's dance got over, and then Stephanie and Triple H came out, and they were like, doing a dance, and everybody was like, we don't like it anymore.
It's amazing we live in a world now where I think you hate Triple H more than I do. I can't believe we've gotten to this point, but I think we have gotten to this point. I honestly don't mind Triple H. Like, that's a little thing, and to me, it's not that big of a deal, but you are finding every reason to hate on Triple H. Wow. I'm surprised.
I don't know. I kind of like him. I just like making fun of him.
Okay. We can rip on Shawn, how he shouldn't have been on camera at all. He looks like a corpse almost.
How dare you? Don't say that about the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Did he need to be on camera?
Yeah, he
at
did.
all tonight?
Yeah,
No,
he did. Come on, man. He should have super kicked Kiana James after she got drafted to Raw. Bam! That would have been great. Walks around. Oh, I don't know where I am. Sorry. Remember when he super kicked a little girl on Raw? That was great.
His eyes are too messed up now. He can't do that.
He can do it. He
kicked the wall instead.
That's fine by me. I just think seeing Cody with the bracelets is like, yo, what are you doing, man? Why are you dressing like Triple H? Are you trying to be a little Triple H, trying to suck up to the game even more? Ugh.
Okay to be faces. Triple H, I know you like the heels.
And Triple H loves them. No, but it's over the top. Sucking up to the boss on TV. It's just like crazy. It's bananas. Stone Cold would never. The Rock would never. You know? It's just like, what is that? The bracelets tonight, man. I'm telling you. It was over the line.
The thing that threw me off.
Huh?
Sorry.
No,
the thing that threw me off was that the fact that Cody was talking about, like, oh, I don't have my gear here. And it's like, why are you, like, acting like that? That seemed kind of off, but he was just trying to be, you know, funny, joking, like, oh, he's actually going to wrestle. He just tried to throw off. But I'm like, that seemed a little bit weird that he would say something like that. But he's just trying to add something to his characters or something different because he didn't have much to work with. Like, Carmelo didn't really give him much to play off of. So I think he needed to say something like that, just something like to throw the fans off a little bit.
I thought the promo was good with him and AJ.
Yep.
It was good. AJ saying he likes Cody and they've been down the same roads to prove themselves outside of WWE and showing respect to Dusty and all of that. I thought it was good. You know, it's friendly, but it's competitive. Cody goes to shake AJ's hand, you know. AJ telling him that he's happy he finished the story, but it's going to be the end of his title reign at Backlash, and it's good. It was a good promo, good intensity, and then after when Cody beats Carmelo Hayes and he's celebrating in the corner, and then AJ Styles just appears and Cody kind of steps off the corner and turns around and sees him, it's kind of like, oh, AJ was going to attack me from behind there, but I caught him. And AJ was like, oh, I was this close. And then they kind of shake hands and look at each other. It's like, it's intense because he knows, you know, AJ's friendly to his face, but he will attack him because he does mean business. And I liked it. I liked the confrontation. I liked the direction that they took AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes tonight.
Like, I don't want, it's cool that they shook hands like after the contract signing, but that should be about it. We don't need any more handshaking. Like, all right, like we've agreed to this, fine. But now, you know, it's war. It's a fight now. Like, no more of this, like, I respect you, whatever thing. Like, if he's going to attack him, he's going to attack him. It's going to happen. He has to realize this. Like, this is for the ultimate prize here.
That's it. Everything's on the line. You got to go for the gusto. You got to do everything that you can to win. And that's what AJ Styles is all about, and I like it. I like the angle. I like how they're playing it. I thought it was very well done tonight on SmackDown by two consummate professional wrestlers in AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. And the match is going to be great at Backlash next week. You know it's going to be great. AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes for the first time ever, and it's for the WWE title, main event in Backlash. You can't really argue with that. I'm surprised that they've never wrestled each other. And I'm very excited to see what they do. I think it's going to be great.
Well, next week, too, before Backlash, the day before, we got a face-to-face as well. So I imagine a physical confrontation, and it should be entertaining. Again, both great wrestlers, and I think both pretty good on the mic. AJ's not the greatest in the world, but I think he's decent. I think this is going to be a very good match, and I think it will probably be the match of Backlash.
And SmackDown will be in Lyon next week. They will be taping. I think they'll be taping it during the day, at night in France, but during the day here, and then it'll air at night at normal time next Friday. So that'll be cool. SmackDown in Lyon, and then the next day, Backlash in Lyon, France. So I was mentioning the draft. So we had Bianca Belair stand on SmackDown. Jey Uso on Raw, staying on Raw. Carmelo Hayes goes to SmackDown, and Seth Rollins remains on Raw. Later on, we had Michelle McCool and Tori Wilson out to read the draft picks, and they announced Randy Orton would remain on SmackDown, Braun Breaker would be moving to Raw, Nia Jax moving to SmackDown, and Liv Morgan remaining on Raw. Then the Dudleys came out later on to announce more. LA Knight remaining on SmackDown. A lot of people are upset about that, and I can't really argue. It's a new kind of playing field on SmackDown with Cody as the champion there, but I feel like LA Knight on Raw would have been cool, seeing LA Knight maybe take over that brand, but he's staying on SmackDown. Rick O'Shea remains on Raw. Rick O'Shea drafted before Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman, who were then drafted by SmackDown. And Sheamus. Who would you pick, Sheamus or Ricochet? I'd pick Sheamus over Ricochet.
Well, the thing, I get why they did that, because Ricochet is going to win the speed title, right?
Yeah.
So they're trying to make a big deal out of him.
You weren't at the Raw taping, right? The Raw in Montreal?
No, you watched that, didn't you, the speed tape? And how was that?
So I saw Ricochet wrestle JD McDonuts, and it was maybe the best 2-minute match I've ever seen. It was,
I believe it,
match of the night at Raw. It was,
right.
Well, I don't know. Sammy and Gable was pretty damn good. Let me tell you, the vibe in the arena for that match, it was a big fight feel. It was a good match. You got to give it to Sami Zayn, man. He delivered a hell of a show. Took some nasty suplexes from Gable. The rematch is going to be very good. I'm invested in that Gable-Sami Zayn feud. I'm invested in the new direction for Chad Gable, too. I like it. But yeah, Ricochet and JD McDonuts, check it out. That match was very good. And live, it was amazing to see them do that stuff. Crazy bumps, crazy flips. It's like they packed all their stuff into 2.5 minutes.
Oh, I get it. Fast food wrestling. It can be good sometimes.
Well, Ricochet, his stuff, when it hits perfectly and he's doing all of it in it's rapid succession, it's pretty crazy. He's very athletic. Very athletic, which is an understatement. He's a freak.
I mean, we talked about this, and you felt this way when he wrestled Logan Paul. They're like, oh, they're going to push him like crazy like this. I'm like, no, they're not going to push him like crazy. They just used him for Logan Paul. He's great for that spot, but they didn't have anything for him. But now they have something for him with the Speed Championship, so now they have to prop him up a little bit. And that's why you got a decent selection in the draft, I think.
It's like they know he's good, but they can never figure out what to do with him. And this is what they figured out what to do with him for now. Right?
Hey, they give him something. I mean, that's better than what they've been giving him before, which is pretty much nothing.
It's not a bad idea for Ricochet because he is kind of a quick highlight type of guy. You see like a short clip of Ricochet doing some amazing things, and you're like, wow, and it could go viral. So if you want to make him your kind of viral guy who just does short matches on Twitter that might take off, it's not a stupid move by WWE. Who's a guy that's going to provide you some quick highlights doing some unbelievable feats? It's Ricochet.
No, I don't mind it. The only problem is, it's like I don't think a whole roster like that works, really. Like a whole division. Like Ricochet works. Beyond that, not too many guys.
You could get some lucha friends. Hire some lucha friends.
And then wrestle who? They'll wrestle each other, whatever. It's not as good if Ricochet's not involved.
Dragon Lee.
Well, that was the first match. It was Ricochet, I think, and Dragon Lee was the first match. And that's good. But then what do you do afterwards? That's the problem with this. Like, I feel like the lifespan of this is just like, the 24/7 title or the hardcore title. It only lasts for so long.
Well, they got JD McDonuts. Yeah, I think it's like the 24/7 title, too. I don't think it's like a real thing. This speed title, come on. It's in the name. It's fast. It'll be here for now, and then when they give up on the idea, it'll disappear. Sticking with the draft, LA Knight remains on SmackDown. Ricochet remains on Raw. Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Paul Heyman remaining on SmackDown. And Sheamus remaining on Raw. Dudley's out to announce that nothing is happening. And then Teddy Long, playa, and JBL came out. Holla, holla, playa. Tonight on SmackDown, I'm drafting The Big Show and The Undertaker. It was great. He drafted Big Show and Undertaker to SmackDown, and then they had a tag team match, playa. Kane was there. Am I imagining this? Did this happen?
You're thinking 2008, I think.
Oh, yeah. It was good, though. Then Vicky Guerrero and Dolph Ziggler came out, and they ruined everybody's fun. Those guys. Oh, man. AJ Styles remaining on SmackDown. Alpha Academy remaining on Raw. Andrade moving to SmackDown. And Kiana James going to Raw. And that was the draft. That's everything that happened. Uneventful. Paul Heyman was nervously waiting Solo Sikoa's arrival to the arena. Solo showed up. Heyman had to explain why Solo hadn't been drafted yet. And Heyman says, well, you know, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns, he's removed himself from the draft. He cannot be drafted. So all the champions couldn't be drafted, and also Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns remaining on SmackDown because he's the tribal chief and he gets to call his own shots. He cannot be drafted. So when you get the bloodline is Paul Heyman, Tama Tonga, and Solo Sikoa, technically, now. Jimmy Uso was not drafted. I don't know if he's eligible. I don't know if he's still alive. He was beaten down by Tama and Solo, and we haven't heard from him, and no one seems to care whether he shows up or not. No one is asking, where's Jimmy Uso? No one on SmackDown seems to wonder, you know? They didn't seem to address his medical absence for any reason. His wife, Naomi, was on the show. They didn't ask her. Is he okay? He's fine. But is he?
Well, I don't think he is fine, actually. Like, from what I read on X, like, apparently Jimmy's going to be up for a while. So that's why he wasn't drafted, because they don't know who he's going to get drafted to, because what would landscape be when he comes back? It might be a couple of months from now.
So they did that because he's hurt?
Yep.
Oh. I didn't know he had a legit injury. That's too bad. So he will remain undrafted, I suppose. Jimmy Uso, not drafted. So, Tama Tonga is there, and he's, like, scaring Heyman. Heyman's terrified. He's still with them because he needs them, I guess, and he's scared to leave them because they will beat him up. So Kevin Owens shows up, and he attacks Solo and Tama because he's mad that they attacked him last week. And then later on, Kevin and Tama kind of appear through the entranceway, and they brawl through the ramp into the ring. But then Solo shows up, and he attacks Kevin, and it's 2-on-1. But Randy Orton appears and chases them off, kicks and attacks Solo and Tama a bit, and they run away. And now we have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus Solo and Tama Tonga at Backlash. That's official. Tag team match. Tama Tonga's first match in WWE next week at Backlash in a tag team against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Not bad.
Made official by Teddy Long.
That's right, playa. As he should. He should make all the matches official. I don't know why he's not the GM of SmackDown today. Enough with this Brutus Magnus. Give me more Teddy Long.
But we also have, the Rated RKO show?
Yes. Randy and Kevin will host a talk show next week. I like this buddy duo. You know? They had to fight each other a bit at WrestleMania because they were in a triple threat with Logan Paul. Their hatred for Logan Paul brought them together, and now their hatred for the bloodline keeps them together. Makes sense.
So Kevin's the new Matt Riddle now, I guess.
I mean, he's better than that.
I think
they're equals.
He's different.
Yeah, but Riddle was a sidekick. I don't think Kevin is Randy's sidekick. Because if they were to have a match, I think Kevin might win. You know, I think that they're on the same level. They're two massive WWE superstars.
It's interesting. Kevin's his own guy in a sense, but it seems like he really likes Randy, and I think he wants this team to really work out. So I think he's really hoping this happens, and it seems like he's pushing for that.
I mean, I don't know. Kevin was the one just like attacking guys on his own, and Randy was the one who came out to save him and join up with him. Randy was the one kind of protecting Kevin and being like, hey, I like this guy. I want to help him. It seemed like Kevin was kind of the leader and Randy was out helping his buddy. I don't know. I see them as equals at this point. I know Randy's been around longer and he's kind of more decorated superstar, but they're both future Hall of Famers. They're both kind of at the same level at this point in WWE.
Yeah, the high, mid-card, main event-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Can always go for the world title in a main event and be legit, Either guy.
Right.
So you could see either guy as champion, too. Both guys could be champion. In fact, I could see Kevin as champion more than Randy at this point in their careers. I think Kevin has more years left in him than Randy. Randy seems like, he was near retirement. I feel like maybe Randy's been wrestling longer. I think he's probably a bit older than Kevin. A couple years. Right?
That's not to say Kevin hasn't got some miles on him, too, though.
Of course.
He's gone through many wars.
Randy's 44, Kevin's 39. That's a difference. It's a 5-year gap. They've both been wrestling since they were, Randy's been wrestling since he was in his early 20s. Kevin's been wrestling since he was in his teens. So, yeah, for sure. But they're a cool tag team. Going up against Solo and Tama, though, I don't know. Right? How does that play out? Do you have Tama lose his first match here? The new pairing of Solo and Tama? I feel like they get a win over Kevin and Randy at Backlash.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of have to. They just were formed, so they should win their first match together, no? Makes sense.
Yeah. And on a show where everybody fights each other, why do Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill continue to just stare at the Kabuki Warriors and yell at them? They did that last week in the sky boxes that were just right next to each other. They had very intense kind of yelling matches. They didn't seem to be saying much to each other. I don't think they really understood each other because I think one team's speaking Japanese. And they did it again tonight. They're just standing there on the stage yelling at each other. Eventually, Kevin and Tama kind of appeared through the thing and the focus shifted. But I guess Jade and Bianca and the Kabuki Warriors just walked to the back. They hate each other, but not enough to fight. It's odd that there's no one kind of standing between them. And they keep not fighting each other. Because usually the people fight each other on this show. But these four, it's not that important.
Well, for Bianca and Jade's sake, I'm kind of glad they didn't fight because weren't they both wearing like high heels?
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend fighting those. We see what happens with Charlotte sometimes. It doesn't always work out very well.
Yeah. It's just weird. It's just weird that they're just kind of standing there yelling at each other for a amount of time. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee beat Humberto and Angel Garza tonight. Carlito and Zelina were in their corner. But then, Santos Escobar and Elektra Lopez came out after the match and revealed security footage that showed Carlito as the one who attacked Dragon Lee before WrestleMania, taking him out of the match. And it was not Santos who did it. Santos has been claiming his innocence the whole time. Carlito was just confused, didn't know what to do, looked scared, and then he decided to shove Dragon Lee into Rey, knocking Rey down. And then he hit a backcracker on Dragon Lee and ran away through the crowd to the back. Okay. It was weird. Yeah. The way Carlito handled it was bizarre. I was kind of afraid. He seemed more of just kind of, I'm going to attack you and then run away. I don't know what to do. Are you guys going to beat me up now?
But it kind of made sense in a way, too. It's like, oh, crap, like, I got caught kind of thing, and I have no friends because like he's not friends with Escobar as well.
Yeah.
So I like that. It's like, oh, I got to get out of here kind of thing. So I didn't mind that. And more security footage where I think there was some pushing, one punch, right?
Yeah.
The security footage. And that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Carlito's motivations make sense. Ray had him, but he seemed to kind of, he picked Dragon Lee instead of Carlito for his tag team partner. And even when Dragon Lee went down, Ray took Andrade instead of Carlito. So it was like, come on. I understand Carlito attacking Dragon Lee out of jealousy. It makes sense to me. Carlito running away. I mean, it made sense. It was just funny to see. Let's see him drop Ray, drop Dragon Lee, and then just run away in fear of guys he just beat up. You know what I mean? It's like, what? There's no standing around to observe what you've done, ha ha ha. It was just like, oh, I'm going to run. Maybe he was scared of what Zelina might do. I don't know. It was just a weird reaction.
She was just yelling the whole time.
Yeah.
She just stood there and yelled.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And Tiffy time. It's Tiffy time, Johnny. What are we going to do here at Backlash? What do we do? Tiffany Stratton and Naomi kind of ended when Nia Jax came out and attacked Bayley. This match between Tiffany Stratton and Naomi was supposed to figure out, if Naomi wins, then she should get another title match at Bayley because Tiffany attacked them last week and disrupted the match. But if Tiffany won, then Tiffany could get a title shot at Bayley. But now nobody gets a title shot at Bayley because Nia Jax came out. 4-way at Backlash?
No, they said three-way.
They said it?
Yeah, it's confirmed. It's three-way.
Ah, yes, it is a 3-way. Bayley, Naomi, and Tiffany Stratton. Well, what about Nia Jax? She seems to want to get involved. Huh?
She earned it? No, she hasn't earned it. Remember, wins and losses mean something here.
What is this, AEW?
Well, that was Paul Heyman actually saying that. This is not an AEW line.
Alrighty.
So if this is the determined number contender, and these two are in the match. There was no winner, so they both get the shot. And I think a three-way is a good idea.
It does make sense.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. It does make sense. I think the match will be good, too. I think Bayley will retain, but I really like Tiffany Stratton. She's just very good. She's got a lot of charisma. She's very confident on the microphone. A lot of them get behind the microphone, and you could just see the lack of confidence in who they are and their character and the conviction, but she's got it. The character is down to a level that's very impressive for somebody who's so new in the WWE and in pro wrestling in general. It's very impressive to see how good she is at this point. So I like Tiffany Stratton a lot. Her wrestling is pretty good. She's very athletic, obviously, with that amazing moonsault. I think that, there are some holes in her game as far as in the ring, but I think over time those little mistakes that she's making will cease to exist, and she's going to be one of the top performers in WWE if she continues on the path that she's on. Have you been impressed with Tiffany Stratton? I have. I feel like she's one of the next ones that'll be up there with Bianca and Rhea and Charlotte and Becky and just all of them. She's separated herself from the pack already. It's very impressive. I really like what I've seen so far from Tiffany Stratton. So far, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, who's impressed me more in WWE, it's been Tiffany Stratton. And I'm a big Jade Cargill fan.
Well, I think there's more potential in Tiffany than Jade overall, but I think Jade brings a different aura than Tiffany does. When Jade comes out, it's like, oh crap, you better watch out, you're in trouble kind of thing. Tiffany, it's she's an entertaining character. She has good moments in the ring. She has moments sometimes that are a little bit off in the ring, but you can understand that with the lack of experience. It's going to come with time. I think she's going to get moved to Raw because I believe her boyfriend's on Raw right now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not expecting her to win the match at Backlash, but as long as she just stays the way she's doing it right now, pretty much following the vets and then just having pretty good. Like once she wrestles someone like Becky and Charlotte, you're going to see her dramatically improve. Like once those matches become like a regular thing, you'll see a huge improvement.
Well, come on. She's wrestling Naomi and Bayley. Bayley knows what she's doing. Naomi has been around for a long time. She's going to be learning a lot just working with Bayley.
But time-wise, though, I mean, has she had long matches yet? Not really. So, I mean, once you get those Charlotte matches.
No, in NXT, they were given some time. She had that one, it was like a false count anywhere, or last woman standing or something that was nuts, no?
Yeah. Well, backyard wrestling, everyone can do backyard wrestling. That's not a big thing. Like, I want to see, like, you have, like, a long match. Like we saw with Rhea, that was a big groundbreaking moment with her and Charlotte.
Yes.
Have that. And I'm sure they want to build towards that with Tiffany. But, again, it's all come in time. She has to go through, like, a whole full year on the roster, which hasn't even happened yet. So, yeah, a lot of potential.
Crazy potential. John, I just looked her up. She's 24 years old. She was signed by WWE out of college as like a recruit in August of 2021. She has been wrestling for less than 3 years.
She's in that special they have, right? The whole new whatever, like new recruits. It's not like a tough enough thing, but it's kind of like a doc thing about like the new recruits. She was one of them, if not mistaken.
I mean, how is she this good on SmackDown in less than 3 years in the business? That's nuts.
Highly athletic.
Yeah, but
and some people catch on to it.
The charisma, though, the character, the gimmick, the promos. Damn, man. That's very impressive. To be 24 with and so inexperienced, she must have grown up a wrestling fan, right? You would imagine.
Well, who knows? I mean, sometimes you're just a fan of, like, just certain, like, cinema. Like, you can just watch someone and, like, you're attracted to that person, like, how they act and how they are. And you just put that on as your character. I'm sure we'll learn a lot more about her as the years go on. I'm sure they'll have specials on them.
She's from Minnesota. She says Charlotte Flair inspired her to become a professional wrestler. And her mother knew enough that before she started in NXT, before she was, signed to WWE, when she wanted to be a pro wrestler, her mother, who, again, they're in Minnesota, contacted Greg Gagne, and he started training her. So they must have known something about wrestling, these people. They're not like, it's not like she was signed as an athlete, never knew anything about wrestling, and then all of a sudden she's like brilliant at it. She's clearly somebody who, growing up, knew something, watched some wrestling. Because you can't pick it up that quickly without any experience, any knowledge of wrestling. It doesn't happen. It doesn't. Name me one person that doesn't know anything about the business. I guess.
We can argue.
Kurt Angle wasn't really a fan.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul is a wrestling fan, though. Logan Paul is a gimmick. Kurt Angle, though, right? Kurt Angle wasn't really a fan.
Was Ronda really a fan? Kinda.
Yeah, she was. For a bit, but
Again, to pick up wrestling, there's a difference between being a fan and to pick up how to do it.
Yeah,
it's nice to know wrestling and then to actually do it in the ring. And Ronda too, they can bash Ronda as much as they want now, and they kind of put her over a bit tonight because they mentioned that was one of Liv's accomplishments, was the fact that she beat Ronda for a women's championship.
Yeah,
Ronda was, I thought, unorthodox, but she was special because of that. She was totally different.
Yeah,
and I thought she was really good.
I loved Ronda Rousey in WWE. I'm disappointed it didn't work out. Ray Cruz, member of the team, says Tiffany is the new Charlotte for long term in WWE. Yeah, I could see that.
Well, you can see that with a lot of people that they try to do. They always try to build up the next person that could be. Braun Breaker definitely is someone building up kind of guy.
Yeah.
They've always had that in a sense.
But
Edge and Christian were always that way too.
At 24, though, you could see Tiffany Stratton being in the WWE for the next 10 years. At least. Being a big star, a major force. Her and Rhea Ripley. Rhea's still in her 20s.
The thing is, can you say a lot of women wrestlers that stay in WWE for a long period of time?
More and
I feel
more
like
they
there's
do.
not a lot.
Charlotte, Becky, Bailey.
Besides
That group
them.
stayed. Nia.
Well, Nia left, but yeah, okay.
She was fired. She wouldn't have left.
No, but they got rid of her.
Naomi's been wrestling forever. Natty.
Again. She walked out, Naomi.
Natty's never gone anywhere. Natty's been there forever.
No, Natty's, yeah. Natty's an OG, without question. But I'm just saying, that for the women, like, you don't see them stay as much. I mean, you know, you have them. AJ Lee, they have moments. They don't always stay around.
I think that's more how it used to be. I don't think it's so much like that anymore.
Well, you see it now. Like, I feel like Bianca, they're building up to be almost like the next Charlotte, in my opinion. And I feel like they're pretty much on their way with that.
Yeah. But Bianca's in her early 30s, I think.
Yeah, well, again, you can still have her for a good 10 years. I think. Why not?
Maybe. Anyways, Tiffany Stratton is very impressive. I like what I've seen from Tiffany Stratton. And I think she's going to be a big star for WWE. Now, Johnny North. I saw somebody say Chad Gable, Sami Zayn. What was that?
Oh, the hair thing. I saw
on
that,
Twitch,
right?
Ordered Saturn says, think a hair versus hair match will happen in the Sami versus Gable feud. I like that feud. I really like what Gable did with the Alpha Academy, kind of dressing him down on Monday Night Raw, telling him that they're disappointing him and they need to shape up. But they kind of took it, and they're going to follow Gable under this new regime, under this new mindset. And I like it. I like this new direction for the Chad Gable character. A hair versus hair match, Sami Gable. Why not? I could see it. I don't know if it'll get to that, but we haven't seen a hair match in a while. Sure. I don't know.
Well, it'd have to be a title versus hair kind of thing. I think that's one. And also, I think it would be to make Gable more like Kurt Angle.
Right.
I guess that would be to do it like that. I mean, I understand that idea, and I don't know why Baldy'd be more heelish, but maybe they'd feel that way, possibly.
I think that haircut makes him look like a heel. He looks very heelish with that hair. I like his hairstyle. I don't want him to lose his hair. Sami, on the other hand, bald would be an interesting look. Cut all the hair, you know? Start from scratch. Grow it out again. Bald Sami.
I mean, we've seen it before in the early NXT days. He had very short hair.
Yeah.
I find he looks better with long hair, to be honest. But I'm biased. I like long hair.
Yeah. I think I like short hair Sami better.
Well, you know, the short hair guy thinks that. The long hair guy
Makes him
thinks
look
different.
younger, I think.
With shorter hair?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it does. I think shorter hair always makes you look younger.
The short hair guy thinks that, yes.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Okay, Becky Lynch is the new WWE Women's Champion. She won it in a Battle Royal. Rhea Ripley had to give up the championship, and now Becky won it, which I kind of figured it'd be Becky or Liv, and it came down to Becky and Liv, and Becky won. I'm happy with that. If it's not Rhea, it should be Becky.
Well, one, I thought the Battle Royal was kind of sloppy. Wasn't a huge fan of it overall. I think Chelsea Green got eliminated when she wasn't supposed to be, but then just jumped up on the apron, and they were like, "Oh, no one saw that." When pretty much everyone saw it, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's, you know, Chelsea Green, who cares? But I felt, what was it? Was Nia, like she was trying to pick up Piper Niven, and she couldn't really do it, and then like she kind of just like dropped Piper, or did Piper drop Nia on Becky? It looked really bad on the table. I felt bad for Becky just getting like squashed like that. And I thought the ending was very weak. I don't know if you caught like the part where like Becky does like the rock bottom like on the ring apron. It looked like crap. Like that's how you're gonna end the match. Like they should have come up with a better idea. Like maybe have it where Liv jumps up onto the corner, move out of the way, and then pull her down like it's a manhandle slam on the apron. something better than that, because it looked like garbage, and that's how you end the show like that. I thought it was kind of weak, but I'm cool with Becky winning. I don't understand the outrage because people were upset with Liv the week before, and now everyone's like, "Oh, Becky Hogan," which is absolutely ridiculous.
She wishes.
Well, one, Becky's not the booker. It's like, does she have creative power that we don't know about exactly? Like she can just do it if she wants like this? Like, I don't think that's what happened. If anything, I think she left her vacation early because they're like, hey, we need you back because we need a strong champion right now. And Becky was the best option. And it makes a lot of sense because Becky's been screwed over for so many years now, not winning the title. How many times can you screw someone over before they finally win it? It makes sense for Becky to win it now, at least.
Yeah. It's Becky. Why wouldn't she win? I don't know why people are mad about that.
Well, because, I don't know what it is with these, like, fans of women wrestlers, but, man, they get angry. It's crazy.
Becky is the best one they have on Raw outside of Rhea Ripley. Like, by far. What's the problem?
Because apparently if you're a Liv Morgan fan, you're very upset that you feel Liv got screwed over like 4 times in a row now. And people making graphics about this, like, oh, like this is the 4th time she's the runner-up. Like, okay, and like, if anything, that's a good spot that she got that and she can work that. Like, oh, I came so close, but I failed. Like, you can work into this. And like, if anything, when she finally wins it, it's going to mean something more.
Maybe if she could cut a promo, she'd be the champion. How about that, Liv Morgan fans? I will admit her work in the ring has much improved. She's actually a pretty good wrestler now. She used to be not very good. Back in the Riot Squad days, Liv Morgan was kind of the weak link of that group. But she has improved over the years into a very strong in-ring wrestler. And the issue has always been with Liv that the promo hasn't come along, and it's still not there. Her promos seem like real shaky, not confident, not a ton of charisma. People like the way she looks. She presents herself well. She's got cool gear. I don't like her finisher. It's not great. I think that finisher's awful. It really doesn't do her any favors because she has all these cool moves. She does a cool match. She wrestles well. She sells well. She does everything. And then she hits her finish, and it's a dud, and then the end of the match is a dud. So she's got a bad finisher, and her promos, it sounds like she's going to cry in a lot of them. But I don't think she's meant to be in that emotional state. She's just so nervous that her voice is shaky. She doesn't seem confident with a microphone in her hand. And that's what's holding her back. So, Liv Morgan fans, I'm sorry, but if she could cut a promo like Becky or like Tiffany Stratton or Bayley or Rhea, or Charlotte, she'd be a massive star in the WWE. She would have been champion many times over. Many times. But because she can't cut a promo, because every time you put a microphone in her hand and the camera in her face, it's a miss. It's a swing and a miss. Every time. And that's why Liv Morgan has not ascended to the top. She's got a good personality. You see her interviewed. She's got charisma, natural charisma. She just hasn't been able to translate it into a wrestling persona. I wish she could. Maybe one day she will. Hasn't happened yet. But, for people to be mad at Becky instead of Liv, it's like, come on. Well, Becky has she's got all the pieces together. I watch wrestling. I know who's doing what. Becky can cut a promo. She can do all the things that a wrestler's supposed to do. Her matches are good. Everything's good with Becky. She's the superior product. Just because you think Liv is cute or whatever doesn't mean she should be champion. I feel like a lot of dudes are kind of like, ooh, it's a lot of that going on.
Well, let's talk about her promo or whatever she did backstage. Like, she had like a run-in with Dominic. No words whatsoever. Just stare at each other.
Which is, best.
Well, that's not good, though.
It is, though, because when she stood there, she looked like, oh, maybe she's going to beat up Dominic. She looked kind of like mean and intimidating. Like, she can do that. She can do that. Like, the physical stuff, she can do. It's just the verbal stuff doesn't work. Have her talk less. Have her talk less. It might work.
Dominic had, like, one of his arms in a sling. Like, I'm going to go beat you up, this one-armed man. Like,
well, he's still a man. I mean, technically.
And then she gets in a fight backstage with Nia. And, like, okay. And then Becky just, like, walks right through it like it's nothing. Completely killed that. So I get a bit of the Becky, like, people are upset about that because Becky destroyed that. But it's not her fault. That's what was written.
Yep. I don't know why people want to blame Big Time Bex. It's not her fault. She's the best. Baffling. I don't think she'll defend a Backlash.
It's too early, I think.
Yeah. Okay, Johnny. Let's get to it. I'm sorry. I'm just watching the Yankees and the Brewers in the 11th inning, and the Yankees just had a play at the plate, and they were out. They did not score the run. It's 6-6 in the top of the 11th.
Oh, it's okay. You're still up. You're still watching. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, but we had a runner on third, and he just got tagged out at the plate, and now there's 2 outs with a runner on first, but...
Is the game over yet? No,
no, but then the Brewers are going to get a runner on second. You get the automatic runner to start the inning, and that's never good. It's always tough when you don't score the run in the top of the inning. The bottom of the inning is like, oof. And right now we got 2 down, runner on first, Cabrera up. But let's see a home run, Cabrera. Let's give me some comfort going into the bottom of the 11th, where we can put the Brewers away. Hopefully. Brewers are first in the NL Central. I've been watching the game this whole time. It's been a very stressful show for me. Very stressful. It's been a tie game. It was like 5-5. The Brewers were up 4-2 at one point, and then Trent Grisham hit his first hit as a Yankee. Was a 3-run homer to put them up 5-4. But then Gary Sanchez, former Yankee, hit a leadoff double and then wound up scoring the tying run to make it 5-5. And then the Yankees scored in the top of the 10th, but then the Brewers scored in the bottom of the 10th to make it 6-6. And now the Yankees have failed to score in the top of the 11th, so we're going to the bottom of the 11th, where the Brewers will have a runner on second automatically because it's extra innings. And I get nervous again, John.
Well, let's just, give people peace of mind here. The show is not over because we're talking baseball here, but we'll get back to wrestling and
Tony Khan.
Very soon here, yes.
Tony Khan. Kyle thinks the show's over. No, the show's not over. I just, I'm watching the game as the show's going on, and it's sometimes when things like that happen, bottom of the 11th, we got a runner on third with 1 out. I'm like, hey, let's go. And then, he's out at the plate, and I go, oh. So if you see me go, oh, shit. It's not really for anything John's saying. It's because I have the game on in front of me, and I really want the Yankees to win because they've been losing a lot lately, and it's stressful. I don't like it. I don't like Tony Khan taking bumps either. He's not very good at it. That bump that he took from the Jungle Boy at the end of Dynamite was not great. Jungle Boy asked to be reinstated into AEW, and Tony Khan, being the little sucker that he is, was like, yeah, I'll reinstate you. You mean so much to AEW. And he hugged him. He's like hugging him. And then Jungle Boy's like, ha ha ha. And then he kind of jabbed him in the belly with a microphone, and Tony Khan like went flying.
See, I feel the fault's more on Jack Perry because like that stab kind of sucked, to be honest. Like, how was he supposed to sell that exactly? Like,
I don't know.
And you got to understand too, Tony's not a wrestler.
I know.
He's not trained to bump like that or
Clearly.
bump at all.
But like,
so
like when you get hit here, go. Don't go. Flat, dead, unconscious.
Well, I feel Jack probably should have hit him higher.
Yeah.
But he didn't for whatever reason. And Tony, not having the experience to know how to bump, just knew like, oh, just fall back kind of thing. That's it. Like Jack, with the experience, needed to make that look better than it was.
Tony started flying back before he got hit.
Well, that's why, like, again, hit him higher. So that way, if he's already going down, it looks like it's a fall through kind of thing. So it won't look so bad. But if he hits him like this, one, the jab looks like very weak. And then when Tony takes a bump like that, it looks odd. So if you hit him on top, it wouldn't look so bad.
Yep. And then the Young Bucks and Okada come out, and they're like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then they grab him, and they hit him with their flippin' spike pile driver thing, the Meltzer driver or the Tony Khan driver, I think they've renamed it. And then they hit him with it. And now Tony Khan is wearing a neck brace, and he's at the NFL draft, drafting for the Jacksonville Jaguars in a neck brace, doing interviews in a neck brace. It's quite a show he's putting on. It's quite a show. So Tony Khan's getting involved as an on-air character against the Young Bucks in AEW. I don't know. He's a babyface, too. How's that going to work? I think so.
Whoa. Let's go back and watch this segment again here because Jack Perry comes out and they're like chanting Cry Me a River. Like, to me, and if we go back even to Dynasty, like they cheered him when he got revealed. And I felt the Bucks, like the fans were actually cheering more for the Bucks than FTR. It was kind of 50-50, but I felt the Bucks got cheered a lot too. So like you say that they're the heels, it's not so clear cut, to be honest.
Just the way the Bucks are acting, it's heelish, but I think you're right. The reactions have been positive for them. I like them.
You're one of the few, but yeah, again, it divides a lot of people, but
it's a cool group. Young Bucks, Okada, and now Jack Perry. And they just attacked Tony Khan. First people to beat up Tony Khan on AEW TV. And they say this is the best version of the Elite, and they are changing the world. And of course, coming up Wednesday night, May 1st, next episode of Dynamite in Winnipeg. And who will be making his return to AEW? Kenny Omega. I'm sure he's got something to say about the whole Elite thing and Tony Khan and everything going on. It'll be very interesting to see what Kenny says and does and his interactions with the Elite and Okada and the Bucks. Coming up on Dynamite in Winnipeg, where Kenny will be a massive babyface no matter what. The return of Kenny. I don't think he's going to be in the ring. I don't know if he's medically cleared, but I'm sure we'll know more on Wednesday night. I'm very excited that Kenny Omega is coming back to AEW. That's a huge return for them. Kenny Omega? It's pretty good.
It's big, and I feel like this is the best opportunity to clearly define them as heels. Like, they need to end the show where Kenny gets laid out by the Elite. I think that needs to happen.
I think you're right.
They've got massive heat.
Yeah, I think you are 100% right. They lay out Kenny Omega. They beat up Kenny Omega. They get booed no matter what in Winnipeg. And it works. It gets them clearly defined as heels. And I think they may go in that direction coming up on Dynamite. Okay, so the Tony Khan comments have been very controversial. He called WWE... He said AEW is like the Pepsi of pro wrestling, and WWE is like the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. I think he meant it in the sense that they make movies, John. They make movies. That's what Harvey Weinstein did, right? That's what he's famous for. The movie business. That's what WWE does. They make movies, pal. Right?
Didn't he also? But didn't Tony also say that they were like the evil empire? Like before he said that.
Yeah, well, they are the big kind of giant corporation, publicly traded company owned by, big money. I saw an interesting take today on Twitter that said WWE is more like WCW was in the late 90s, early 2000s. And AEW is more like WWF, where they're a privately owned company, and WWE is a publicly owned company that could be sold off at some point, and just kind of, like the current owners of WWE could change. It could be bought and sold and changed, and AEW is owned by a guy who has billions of dollars, who seems to love pro wrestling and is dedicated to just making his brand work and attack everybody, and he doesn't care, and he's fully dedicated. You could see that with the neck brace and the comments and everything he's doing. He's all in, no pun intended. So, I think it's interesting, and just the future, the next 10, 20 years, WWE and AEW, I think will be interesting to see how the businesses evolve and change. WWE is in a period of transition right now. Nothing has landed. Nothing has finished. This Vince McMahon lawsuit stuff is not going away. Vince is selling all of his stock now in the company. He's completely breaking away. Nick Khan apparently is selling stock too, which is interesting. Things are not going away. Things are progressing in many ways. And, we'll see where the WWE goes, where AEW goes. But as far as the comments from Tony Khan calling them the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling, I think it's just a shot considering everything that Vince has been accused of doing. And the things that Vince has done, which we know, which is he has paid off several women for things he's done. Inappropriate things he's done that he won't talk about and they can't talk about because he paid them off. So he's paid for silence from women, which is always suspicious. Multiple women. And now this one woman is suing him because he didn't pay what he was supposed to for the silence. And she's telling a lot of stories. So for wrestling fans to be outraged that Tony Khan is calling WWE the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling, I mean, what are you mad about? The facts are the facts. Vince McMahon was doing some horrible stuff, Harvey Weinstein style. Was it as deep as what Harvey Weinstein was doing? I don't know. I don't know all the details of the Weinstein case. But I've seen a lot of details from Vince's case, and they're pretty bad. And I've heard the big picture with Harvey Weinstein, and there are similarities. Also, maybe Tony Khan is defending Chris Jericho, who was called the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling at one point by Nick Hausman, which was kind of a shot. And it got Jericho a lot of heat at a pay-per-view that kind of went away, didn't it, AEW fans? A lot of people were real mad at Chris Jericho for something that was unclear. A vague rumor that was pushed harder by a wrestling journalist, Nick Hausman, who compared Jericho to Harvey Weinstein. So if you want to throw the Harvey Weinstein stuff right away, who brought that into the conversation first? It was Nick Hausman, CM Punk puppet, who alluded to Chris Jericho doing some things, who then later apologized for saying that because he was out of line, and it caused some real damage to Jericho's reputation. Now, if Jericho has been doing some bad things, hey, he deserves to have his reputation damaged. But I have seen nothing, heard nothing. No one has come out and said a damn thing specifically or otherwise about Chris Jericho doing anything, but then some people are, they were attacking him and they were booing him at a pay-per-view. I think it was World's End, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Which I'm still kind of pissed about because, what did he do? Tell me what he did and I'll boo him too. But until you can explain to me what actually happened and you can prove to me that these people that are, in the conversation of possibly being victimized by Chris Jericho, until these people actually say, yeah, this happened, or even say, yeah, Jericho's bad or anything, well, this person was in AEW and then she left. Jericho must have done something. What? Crazy. So, yeah, I think, people weren't that upset when that Nick Hausman guy said that stuff about Jericho. People were just like, yeah, Jericho, he sucks. Let's condemn him. He's bad. He's been doing what? He's like Harvey Weinstein? I can't believe it. You say that about WWE, where it was run by Vince McMahon, founded, operated by Vince McMahon, and you know what Vince was up to. What's the outrage here? I don't get it. I think Tony Khan is right to take shots. Why not? They're taking shots at you left and right. You want to perform in front of 2,000 people? Go ahead. We draw crowds here. We got to make our stage smaller to get more people in the building. Not like these other pissant companies. I mean, they're taking shots. And you can't say you're doing better business because you're not. But you know what you can say? You never have to pay off any of your female talent because of some disgusting shit you did. There aren't potential deaths on your watch. There's a lot of things you could say as AEW against WWE that they really don't have a leg to stand on. Now, can you say you have more money than them? You're doing better business than them? Probably not. Can you say you don't sexually assault your employees? I think probably you can. Can they say that? I think Tony Khan can safely say that he never knew about a billionaire. He never knew and, hid details of a billionaire's illicit and possibly illegal sexual adventures. Can Triple H claim the same? What did he know? How much did he know? And for how long did he know it? Johnny Ace knew. Johnny Ace participated, and he's claiming he was a victim of Vince. We're all just victims of Vince. Nobody's enabling Vince. Everybody's just victimized by Vince. Nobody's helping Vince. Nobody's enabling Vince. Everybody that was in the upper management in WWE and worked with Vince on a daily basis and is still in the WWE upper management, they never knew anything about what Vince was doing. Bullshit. Bullshit. Get the fuck out of here. Don't get mad that he's saying it's like Harvey Weinstein. Come on. They didn't know. Vince is accused of all this shit throughout the years. These people are they work with Vince every day. They'll tell you themselves that he would call them constantly, wouldn't leave them alone. He's always there. You're always working side by side with Vince. They don't know what he's up to. She's in the office. Vince is gone. Oh, I had no idea. I didn't know I was a victim. Yeah, I went to the hotel room. Yeah, I had sex with her. Vince wasn't there. He made me do it. Every day. Yeah. Oh, my wife, she had cancer. Yeah. That's nice. Everybody, fucking Vince was just, who knows what he was doing? Well, we can't do any. Oh, he's going to kick our ass, going to fire us. Oh. I don't know. I think Stephanie knew. I think Triple H knew. I don't think they liked it, but they knew. I mean, they didn't want Vince to come back on the board. They voted against it. He vetoed it, and he came back. Stephanie had quit WWE throughout kind of the turmoil. Vince got kicked out. She came back, took over. Vince came back. She quit for good. Stephanie knew something wasn't right. She knew something wasn't right. What she knew, it's not clear. You know, what any of them knew is not clear, but a lot of them knew something, and they all knew something wasn't right. They all knew something was going on that wasn't good. They all knew. All those people that were working around Vince, there's no way they didn't know. He didn't hide it. So, don't get mad at Tony Khan for saying what he said. Because what I just said was far more damning. And you shouldn't get mad at me because it's all true. Stop me when I'm telling lies.
Well, what about the link with Nick Khan and apparently the talent agency with Harvey Weinstein? I don't know if you saw that.
Didn't see
that. Yeah, apparently there's Nick Khan is linked to that talent agency that was associated with Harvey Weinstein. So some people think that may have been what the shot was. It wasn't so much on Vince. It may have been a shot at Nick Khan, actually.
Nick Khan may not get away with all this.
Well, he's cashing out too, isn't he, though? Like,
yes.
It looks like.
Right. Why is he cashing out?
Well, wasn't this like, I felt like he said this a while back, like he was always just there to help set up the deal for them to sell WWE. And he was going to get a large sum because of that. And I think maybe this is what's pretty much coming out now in the open. And his past, well, that just happens to be an ironic coincidence, possibly.
Possibly a coincidence, possibly not. I mean, Harvey Weinstein was he was up to. People knew what he was up to. People knew. And if you're Nick Khan and you're a big business guy and you're in Hollywood and you're as you know important as people say he was, he's probably known a few Vinces in his day. Knew Vince, knew Harvey. Who knows what Nick Khan himself is up to? Gotta wonder. These types of guys, man. Look at Tony Khan when he's making these statements. This is what he looks like. He's in a neck brace on the NFL Network where they're interviewing him because he's the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars football team, and he's got a neck brace on selling the Young Bucks pile driver from Dynamite. I mean, this is gimmick, brother. I mean, how can you be mad at this? I love this, and I don't even think Tony Khan, like, I'm not a big fan. I think he does ridiculous stuff, but this stunt, this NFL draft Tony Khan presentation over the past couple days has been phenomenal. He's killing it. He's pissing people off. He's making noise. He's making headlines. He's causing trouble, and that's what he's supposed to do because he just became an on-screen character. Thank you very much. It's exactly what you're supposed to do. Cause controversy. Because as the great Eric Bischoff would say, controversy creates cash. And you know Bischoff loves Tony Khan in AEW, right? Loves them. Thinks they're great. He doesn't. No? You don't like this, John? I like it. I don't dislike it. I actively like that Tony Khan is going on the offensive. I want controversy. Take shots. Go at them directly. Lead the charge. If you're AEW, you should be team fuck WWE all day, every day. Why not? If you own AEW, come on, man. Take shots where you can. They're taking shots at you. I'd be taking shots at them. No?
Slippery slope, though, man. I don't know, because, like, where does it stop?
It doesn't.
Like, it just feels like this just keeps going.
It's
No, it
war.
doesn't. It doesn't stop.
It's war. Fuck off. That's how it works. It's war. War doesn't end until one side is decimated. That's how you win a war. You got to win. You got to destroy the enemy. And they're going to try and destroy each other. And it'll never happen, and they'll just fight forever. Like a lot of wars wind up happening, right? A lot of wars just drag on. But I like that they're in a war. I like that they're fighting. Because AEW felt like they were maybe giving up. Don't give up. You've got a lot of talent. You've got a very bright future. I'll take Will Ospreay over Braun Breaker. You know? They have a lot of talent right now. A lot of talent. Swerve is their new champion. They're doing well. They're doing well. Kyle Salisbury said, I do a paid subscription just to see you voice animations of Vince, Ace, and Triple H. Funny parody clips. We'd need an animator, but that's not a bad idea.
Well, you can do, like, videos just for members kind of thing where you're just doing parody kind of moments. You could do parody.
Do bad animation with that, maybe.
That's an idea.
Yeah. Triple H updates Vince on the product. Hey, Vince, we did a great show tonight. We got this Tiffany Stratton. Oh, yeah? Tell me about Tiffany Stratton. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. Not so much.
Well, Vince, man, you know what he's up to. What happened in the women's match?
Again, it's funny how things have worked out. Like, I remember at one point you'd rather hang out with Vince than Tony Khan, and now it feels like we're totally the opposite now. I don't think you'd want to hang out with Vince so much.
No. I know Tony Khan smokes weed, man. I think it'd be a easier hang for me. I heard from Joey Janela. He's like, oh, Tony Khan smoked all my weed or something. I was like, oh, yeah, Tony Khan smokes weed? That's cool. I don't think Vince smokes weed, so I think I'd have an easier time just kind of hanging out, smoking a number with Tony Khan, chilling with TK. That'd be a good podcast. Me and Tony Khan just smoking weed, talking about AEW and how he's fucking it up. Hey, that'd be good. Tony, I'm telling you, man, you're fucking up, bro. Get it together. That'd be good. I think it would help AEW, quite frankly.
I don't know. Not so much, really, to be honest, if he's caught on camera smoking.
You're living in a different fucking time, John. What the fuck are you talking about?
You got to understand, like, he's the NFL owner. Like,
so?
I feel like it's different with that. Like, they're a lot more harsh, I feel.
I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't know the NFL world. It's pretty square, I suppose. You would know that, John. You would know. Okay. What is it? What is it? What is it? Are we done here? I think we're done here.
There's nothing else with Dynamite you want to talk? I mean, I know obviously that was the big part of Dynamite, but there were other moments of Dynamite. Was there not?
No.
I mean, we did have the new world champion come out. I think he had the match of the show, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you caught Will Hobbs. Like, he got a serious injury in his match against Moxley that just suddenly ended because I think his knee was really messed up, which is ironic.
Yeah.
Because Swerve also sold a knee in his match as well, but I think that was a gimmick. He was supposed to do that. where Will actually got hurt and they actually had to just go right to the finish because he couldn't continue.
Yeah, it was disappointing. The whole Dynamite was kind of disappointing. Like, that gauntlet match made no sense to me. I don't know what the hell was going on. It was like a million guys. They all came out at different intervals, and then at a certain point, Will Ospreay got a pin, so Ospreay will get a title shot at Roderick Strong's international title now. It's like, Super chat. It was a bad match. I mean, it was okay. The wrestlers did fine, but it was like, what is this? I couldn't even understand how you win, what was happening. Just a bunch of guys kept coming out. Nobody got pinned. And so many guys were just outside the ring watching, and you go, don't you have to be in the ring to win? It was bad.
Well, that was their Gauntlet Casino Battle Royal. That's what they called it.
Stupid. It was
not
really
the best
stupid. No, I didn't think Dynamite was a great show, but they ended with a really hot angle, so that was good. You know, I thought Kyle Fletcher and Swerve had a good match.
Yep.
I wasn't really impressed with Mina Shirakawa and Anna Jay.
Why is like Mina like suddenly pushed like out of nowhere? It's like we have to know who she is again. It's like what? Like, but I guess she was teamed with Mariah May, I guess, in Japan. So
yeah,
that's why that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I did like Jericho. I'm loving the whole Jericho the Learning Tree. Like I feel this new Jericho character. Like I think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah,
I'm liking it.
Yeah. Kyle Salisbury dropping a $10 super chat. He says, I'd hang with North. There you go. There you go. Me and Tony Khan and you and Kyle Salisbury doing a show. We'll have a feuding show. That's the future, John. That's where we're headed. Jericho is fun. I do like the gimmick. I like the promo he did. I think it's good. And something else happened on Dynamite.
Best friends?
Yeah, Trent, he doesn't like Orange. He attacked Orange again, and he wanted Chuck to join him, but Chuck did not want to join him. So now Chuck and Trent are going to wrestle each other in a parking lot brawl.
Tomorrow on Rampage.
Oh, yeah, already? Okay.
Yep.
They did not waste time with that one. And that was basically what happened on Dynamite. Not the best. Not the best.
Well, again, I thought first match and pretty much their main event angle at the end. That was pretty much the highlights of the show.
Yep. Of course, I did a AEW Dynasty recap on Monday. You can go and check out that for all the AEW Dynasty news that you need. Johnny, you weren't here last week, right? I've been solo a lot over the past few shows. But you wanted to talk about Dark Side of the Ring, I think. We had the Chris Adams episode and then the Sherry Martel episode this week. Both, interesting shows.
I mean, both very sad for different reasons. I mean, Chris Adams was kind of like a monster.
Yeah, he seemed like a pretty bad guy, especially when he drank. Yeah. I find it interesting that Chris Adams and Steve Austin have children that are siblings.
The fact that they didn't angle all of them together was incredible. I had no idea that ever happened. I was like, wow.
I didn't realize that Chris Adams had a child with... I'm blanking on her name. That British lady.
Lady Blossom. I forget her actual name, but yeah. Her wrestling name was Lady Blossom, yeah.
Yeah. So he had a kid with her, and Stone Cold had a couple of kids with her too, right? He has two daughters.
Two?
Huh? Yeah, he has two daughters with her. So Stone Cold's kids and Chris Adams' kids are half siblings, which is interesting.
Well, it's just I remember Chris Adams just mainly from like his late WCW run, and like he seemed like a good wrestler, but it just felt like he was an older wrestler, and they're just kind of, using him to put over their stars pretty much. It's pretty much what they said, kind of thing. But I had no idea that he was that out of control. And it's like, you wouldn't expect WCW would have hired someone like that. Like, he already got arrested on that plane incident that happened to him. I'm surprised he was able to get a job with WCW after that.
I think he had a lot of friends in the business, and he was a talented wrestler, and people wanted to give him a chance. A lot of wrestlers have demons, especially at that time in WCW in the 90s. Like, come on. He wasn't a unique case.
And, well, the thing is, too, he probably wasn't too expensive to get.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, well, we can just drop him whenever we want. And it's pretty much what happened, I think.
Yeah. I think the most shocking part to me was how he died, which was attacking his friend and then getting shot. His friend shot him in self-defense and then claimed self-defense and didn't go to jail. He got shot to death with a gun. Crazy. I didn't know that's how he died.
No, I had no idea that's how he died. I thought it was an overdose, because I thought that's how it was leading to. Remember, when his girlfriend at the time, she overdosed, I thought he had overdosed as well in that. But that's actually not when he died.
Yeah.
It was later on. I was like, wow, okay, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, the friend, finds him and the girlfriend, nearly dead. The girlfriend was dead. He manages to revive Chris Adams after they both, OD. And then that same friend winds up shooting Chris Adams because Chris came at him and was going to kill him.
See, I think that's where people, and some people said it too on there, they don't believe that whole self-defense thing, because he put over the girlfriend at the time. So I think some people think that he had a thing with the girlfriend and he was upset about that, and that's why he killed Chris Adams.
I doubt that. That didn't seem like... It seemed like Chris Adams was a very big, strong, violent man, especially when he got intoxicated, and he could kill somebody, and he maybe was going to. This guy feared for his life, so he shot him. He didn't intend to kill him, but, sometimes when you shoot people, they die.
Well, he said that Chris bit him. So, I mean, if he could prove that he had a bite mark, I think that probably helped his case a lot, I think.
Mm-hmm. And he was beat up, too. He had...
Right.
I mean, look, the law found him not guilty by way of self-defense.
That was surprising, too. They showed a photo of, him dead. You rarely ever see stuff like that. I was surprised.
Yeah, it was a rough one. The gentleman, Chris Adams. Stone Cold always has nice things to say about him, but of course you would. And of course, Sherry Martel, the sensational one, sensational Sherry. I remember her as one of the greatest managers in the WWF and WCW growing up, managing the Macho Man, managing Shawn Michaels, then going over WCW with Harlem Heat. She was a legend of the business. You got to see her ascent into pro wrestling and how she got into the business, and I didn't love her story. She was on a lot of drugs all the time. She had a kid with a guy and then decided, I'm not going to do this anymore, and just kind of left her son. She abandoned her son, which is never great. I don't love when the parents just kind of disappear from the kids' lives. And she didn't really seem like she tried to make it work. And her son was on it, and he seems like he's in poor health, and he has not had an easy life. I felt really bad for the son. And the husband there, who just tried to make it work, and it just... She went wild and just disappeared.
Well, I think
that's
something
rough.
else... You're kind of leaving something out, too. She got married when she was, 18 or something?
Yeah.
Had the kid when she was 18? An idea, too. Maybe don't do that when you're, super young.
She was also stripping at the time? Possibly.
There was a lot of reasons.
And there was a lot of drugs and alcohol going on, too, in her life. I mean, she was living a hard life. And then she decided to quit stripping and become a pro wrestler. And her husband was like, what? And then she disappeared one day and became a pro wrestler. And he tried to, like, find her and hire private investigators. And then he says one day 3 giant men came to him and were like, leave Sherry alone. She's with us now. And he was like, okay. And then he never contacted her again. And raised her son, who sometimes got to see her, but she was always high. Ugh.
I mean, it's a very sad story, and I knew you were definitely, as a father, you would take this kind of personally almost. So I had a feeling you didn't like this one whatsoever.
Yeah, fathers, mothers, just kind of disappearing from their kids' lives, especially when they're like 3 months old. It seems like, oh. I get it, but like, my God, I mean, it worked out for her. She did become a star and a legend and all of that, and sure, but I just wish people didn't have kids if they didn't want to take care of them. If you're not prepared to be responsible for your kid, you shouldn't have had a kid. A lot of people shouldn't be able to have sex, I think. I think you shouldn't be allowed. If you're going to be irresponsible in your sexing and a kid comes out and you're not prepared for it, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to have sex. How about that? You got to be, or you got to be able to protect yourself. There are ways to do it and not have kids, And if people can't figure out how to do that, I mean, maybe they wanted to have a kid, but, you shouldn't have a kid when you're 18. Sometimes it works out, Sometimes it does work out. You can have kids when you're 18, but I don't like when parents abandon their kids. I don't like when the wrestlers do it either. Like the male wrestlers, they do it a lot too. They disappear from their kids' lives. They go out on the road and their kids never see them. But at least, they come home to the kid. They seem to try, like they got to go off for work, but when they come home, the kid is there. Like Sherry wasn't coming home to the kid. That seems like the rough part for me. It's like, I mean, Bret Hart was on the road or whatever, but when he came home to his kids, and he was dad,
Mm-hmm.
She didn't come home, and she was not mom when she came home. Like, even Chris Adams, the fuck up that he was, his daughter was like, he was great, he was a great father, he came home, he took care of me, he felt bad that he couldn't do more, and he wasn't there for me, he even wrote a letter to her saying how he apologized, and he wishes he was there more, and like he felt bad, and he seemed to, like, make an effort where Sherry's son didn't seem to think she made much of an effort. I think you got to make the effort. You're on the road, you're a wrestler, I get it. It's not easy to balance that with a home life, but, like, these are your kids, you're everything to them, so you gotta be there, or you're gonna fuck up this person that, is gonna be there talking about you when you're dead. So you want to make sure they're saying nice things. And this guy wasn't saying such nice things.
Well, like, you talking about her son? Like, her son was actually very nice about Sherry.
He was nice about it, but you could tell he wasn't happy about it. He's like, I'm still pissed off,
Right.
And he has every right to be. I felt very bad for him. Could you imagine your mother abandoning you at 3 months old? How do you feel?
It would be devastating, without question.
You can't. That's not something you ever get over. That's not something you could ever reconcile in your mind. Why did my mom leave me? That is heartbreaking. I had no idea she had a kid, and she left him at 3 months. That is horrific. Yeah. So, I like Sherry a little less now.
I had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling that you're thinking this too, that because of the poor health he's in, that you kind of blame Sherry for that as well.
I mean, she didn't give him cancer.
No, I'm glad, but I thought you were going to be like, oh, if she was around, it wouldn't have been that bad for him. He wouldn't.
You never know.
Well, of course,
she was alive. He could have had cancer too. You never know. You never know. And I don't think it's Sherry's fault that she died. She had demons. She had addiction issues. I don't blame Sherry for dying. I don't blame Sherry for dying. I don't blame anybody for dying. You die because you have addiction issues and it gets to you. Hey.
That's way too many drugs in your system. That's that list that they put, like how much was in her system.
People
that's
have
ridiculous.
problems with drugs, John. It's an issue. It's a problem. Just because you don't doesn't mean it doesn't happen to people. And I've got all the sympathy for people who've got problems with drugs. I understand, it could be a pull that you can't get away from. I get it. And it kills people. And it's very sad. And I feel bad for Sherry for that, She had demons. She couldn't get away from the demons. I don't blame her for dying. I blame her for how she lived a little bit, where she wasn't really taking care of her kid, which sucks. I think as a parent, you should be there for your kid. But it's not your fault if you die. I don't think Sherry wanted to die. And even if she did, I mean, whatever. It's not her fault. I don't blame her for dying. Sometimes you overdo it and things take a turn for the worse. But in life, I don't think she did right by her son. And I felt very bad for that man, who seemed to be in very poor health himself. Sad episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. I don't think it's supposed to be a uplifting show, but my God.
Well, you say it's Dark Side of the Ring. That's truly what it was. I mean, and I don't think it's going to get any lighter when you see the Sandman thing. Like, I think you and I both look back at the Sandman and think, oh, he's a legend, and like he was a lot of fun. His matches were fun. He seemed like he was always having a good time. I'm sure we're going to see a very dark side of this, where he was always in pain and he went through a lot of trouble and probably a lot of medical expenses, I imagine, because he had some good matches, but I can't imagine he was walking around fine. And to this day, probably, I want to say he had some problem like where he was like, was he like bleeding or something? Like he was just like pissing out blood or something that happened one show.
I don't know. We'll have to find out. A lot of drugs with the Sandman, but he's still alive. He's still kicking. So that'll be, at least a better part of the story, that he's still alive.
Well, we'll see about him being a parent too, because there's a whole angle with Raven. I mean, he got his family involved in that, so we'll see how that affected them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we will see more episodes of Dark Side of the Ring, Johnny North. And how was that match last weekend? Did you win?
I didn't win. I died. But
you died?
Well, it was a casket match, right? So that's what happens. But, over 500 people, pretty much. So quite a spectacular show, I thought, in the end. We had quite the setup. A lot of tombstones around, a lot of skulls. We had the lights go off for me when I came out. I had my druids. I had the spotlight on me and the casket and everything. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was an enjoyable experience. Regardless, you die, it happens. But the great thing about this is, like, the resurrection's even better. So that's something to look forward to.
Yes, indeed. And do you have a next match you can promote here?
For that one, I think that's going to be June 28th. So that's a bit away from now. But May 5th, I'll be back at Torture Chamber. It's the big show of the year, Pandemonium 2, going down May 5th in Laval.
Oh, well, that's pretty soon. That's coming up May 5th in Laval for the Torture Chamber Pro Wrestling. Johnny will give you info on that at Genesis Johnny North on Instagram, at North Genesis on Twitter. You can go to membership.ringsidereport.net to support the channel, membership.ringsidereport.net, and join.ringsidereport.net as well. And go to get some new merch. We've got a Ringside Report glass, a new can-shaped Ringside Report glass over at merch.ringsidereport.net. So, some new merch coming for you.
Not your shirt, though, I don't think.
No, not this shirt, but some other shirts that we have. But we got new merch that I'm trying to find that I actually can't find on the page for some reason. It's not on the front page, this glass.
So new, I couldn't find it.
Why is this not up here? I don't see this glass. I've been told to push a new glass. There's a new... Oh, there it is. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Oh, I want one.
Oohs and ahs.
Ooh, this is nice. Look at this thing. $14, that's a good deal. Go get this. Look at that glass we got. Look at that. That's nice with the Ringside Report logo all over it. Nice can-shaped glass. Looks like a can, you know? Look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's all right, yeah.
Looks all right. John, how about a little support for the merch for the channel that you're on, my friend? Looks all right. How about looks amazing? Ooh, No?
No, it looks good. I'm saying it like it's very good.
Yeah. I guess Johnny North looks all right is like, wow, amazing. Right? So there you go, merch.ringsidereport.net. Go to ringsidereport.net, the online home of everything MMA and professional wrestling. Ringsidereport.net, the home of the Ringside Report Network. I will be back here at some point. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Taking the weekend off. No big UFCs this weekend. Thursday night, 8 p.m., I'll be back for Ringside Report MMA. We will preview UFC 301, and then next week we'll preview Backlash. That is Le Backlash in Lyon, France, coming up next weekend for the WWE. Thank you to Kyle Salisbury. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Appreciate you, Kyle. Thank you for supporting the Ringside Report Network. Thank you to Angelo Contagonis. Thank you to Leor, of course, Ray Cruz, Derek John, all the members over at join.ringsidereport.net and membership.ringsidereport.net. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting, and become a member and subscribe to the channel. Do all the things. Like the video. Leave a comment. We appreciate it, and we will see you again real soon here on the Ringside Report Network.
Thanks for sticking with us to the end. We would really appreciate it if you could help us spread the word.
You know the drill. Hit that subscribe button. Flip those notification switches.
We are an audience-supported network, so consider becoming a recurring supporter at membership.ringsidereport.net. Check out our website at ringsidereport.net. Hope to see you again next time.